scissors and that wonderful bull again. Trying to hit this little guy with my fire here. I have to work up to trying to get 30 olives before I end up getting to Laconia, which is where I have to buy the ocarina in order to summon the dolphin. Which you know already if you watched my NES run of this game or have seen an NES version of Battle of Olympus. I don't think many people even knew that this version existed, even fans of the game. I didn't, and I've always loved this game. So I was like, you know what? Since I heard of it, I might as well go ahead and play it. And I was actually pretty shocked that it's actually not too bad, because there's a pretty good amount of NES games, games that were on the NES, and you have like Game Boy versions of them that may not necessarily be the greatest. So this was an overall really solid Game Boy game, and it looks almost exactly like the NES version, of course, and the color from the stream, but even with that, just the backgrounds and everything else look really nice, and the graphics look pretty solid. Now, granted, this was in '93, so the Game Boy had already been out for a couple of years, so they had a little bit of time to get used to the hardware, I guess. Okay, Hermes, time for the sandals. There we go. So now I can jump a little bit higher, which of course is very beneficial, especially when jumping over certain enemies that end up getting in my way. So now that we have the sandals, it's time to go to the forest area of Peloponnese in order to do battle with the Hydra, as well as get the next weapon, which will be the final weapon I'll be picking up in this run of the game. And in the end, end up going to Laconia, where we go to buy the ocarina, and so we can summon Mr. Dolphin. So now that we're in the forest area, you actually can see I'm using both fire and the normal hits at the same time to try to maximize my damage. To try to get through some of these enemies a little bit quicker than they would if I just went straight knife, or if straight staff. I keep saying it, not even though you have 4 different weapons, 2 staffs, or a club, a staff, and 2 swords, and yet they all look like the exact same stabbing animation, so it looks like I'm stabbing a sword or a knife, even though I have a cane right now. First stop is to get the Harp, which we don't need necessarily, but it's so beneficial because it summons Pegasus that it instantly takes us to certain areas in front of these sun stones set up in a couple of specific areas, which they're nicely placed because just when I need them in order to get to certain places, there's one to help me get to the next area much quicker. But now that we have that Harp, it's time to go battle with the Hydra in order to get the 3rd weapon of the game. And the Hydra Battle is a little bit different than the Hydra Battle from the NES version. Really not too much different, but his AI, which the AI of all the bosses is different, AI of all the enemies is different in this version than is the Game Boy. I guess that's what they really focused on reprogramming. So here we go with the Hydra Battle. And my biggest gripe that makes this battle really a pain is that sometimes he won't jump high enough in order for you to actually be able to hit him. Sometimes, like that, for example, that move right there. I mean, he jumped up barely enough that there was like almost no way. I mean, maybe if I was ducking right at that right spot, I would have been able to maybe hit him, but that's just a real annoyance. It just makes it go a little bit longer. And on launching fireballs, I don't know if they really help too much when it comes to the damage, because it doesn't even knock the head off when I hit him with a fireball. But I guess it can't hurt. It makes the sound like I'm doing damage to him, so I assume doing the fire to him as well helps out during the course of this battle. If there's another one of those really short jumps that is a really annoyance. There he is. He's done. Path opens up. We meet with this fairy here. Spirit of the Forest. And that the Hydra's gone, she will give me this sword. And there it is. The 3rd weapon. The best weapon that I will be getting, because I won't be getting the absolute best weapon in the game, so it's the best weapon I'll be using in this run. Might as well switch to it. That would make a lot of sense. Some of the other things that annoy me or change, and I'm going to be coming to a point where they did change the placement of 2 items, or at least one item, and the other one I could not seem to ever get to work. Now, in the NES version, if you watched my run of it, you saw that I got ambrosias, and I'll be getting them in this run as well. And they not only refill your health, but they increase it by a few bars. Now, the only one I usually didn't get was the one you had to pay for in the Caves of Argolis. But in this run, I don't get another one as well. So I don't get that one in the cave, as well as I don't get one that you're going to see right here, right before I fight the Cyclops. There's one usually from that tree right there that I just jumped past. You usually hit the tree and it comes down. The thing is, I tried striking the tree for a while and it didn't come down, so I guess they moved it. I'm not sure where they moved to. I couldn't find a guide on the game. There was no Game FAQs guide for this version of the game, so I don't think there's a guide on the internet for this version. This may be the only walkthrough or even video of a run of Battle of Olympus for the Game Boy. I'm not sure. I may be the first. I may be a pioneer in this field of doing runs of the Game Boy version of Battle of Olympus. But because of that, I couldn't locate that one, so the first ambrosia I'm going to get is the one for doing battle with the second Cyclops, which is where I'm heading now. Like I mentioned before, I also need 30 olives, which I have 25 right now. And as if you saw my NES run, I had to spend a lot of time grinding to get up to 60 olives, killing scorpions, killing the monkeys, in order to build up that olive count in order to be able to purchase the ocarina. This one, I can get that ocarina a lot quicker. So, time to do battle with the second Cyclops. I took out the first one really easily. You jump up and strike him in the eye. The hit detection sometimes a little weird, but he goes down really quickly, even more quicker than the version of the NES. The version that's in the NES, I should say. That makes sense, I think. But killing him grants us an ambrosia, which you saw refilled my health, as well as gave me some extra bars of health. 28. 2 more olives, and I'll be able to purchase the ocarina. Come on. Trying to get there. There's one more now. I need one more. Come on, drop it. No, he doesn't want to. He drops health instead. Oh, come on, dude. You know you want to drop it. Or not. You know what? Okay, forget you. I'll go kill a scorpion and try to get that last one. You want to die, monkey? Okay, fine. I'll get it from the monkey. There we go. Now, here's another thing. You saw how I strike that? It's supposed to open up that hole, which it looks like there's a hole right there. But for some reason, I can't fall through it. In the NES one, you fall right through when you hit this thing. It's very picky when it wants me to let me through. So there we go. Finally let me through. I don't know what triggered. I guess I'm in the exact right spot that it likes in order to let me through. I guess it's just like a little bit of a program error. A programming error. So that is one thing that was... it's a minor gripe I guess I have with it. But it allows me to come down here, get the ocarina, so now I can summon the dolphin in order to help me get to the another small island, and will be later helping me get to actually a lot of places. I actually have to use the ocarina a few times, including waking up one of the enemies in the game, a sleeping golem, who wakes up when you use the ocarina. Might as well start collecting olives, because I will need 50 olives in order to purchase the power bracelet, which helps me not, does of course helps me do a lot more damage, but I pretty much needed it in the NES run to kill Cerberus, who's a boss later in the game. And in this version, I'm not positive if I needed it or not, but it's better to be safe than sorry, I guess. So I used the ocarina, I summoned the dolphin, and now we're heading off to the small island to the right here, which will do battle with a Harpy. This battle was really easy in the NES, but as you can see, I just knocked it back, so I might as well... I knocked it off screen. I'm not sure if it would come back there or not. I'm not positive. It probably would have, but just make it spawn, respawn real quickly. Come on. Wait for it. Go underneath. Come on. There we go. Wait for the opportunity to take a hit at it. There we go. There's 3, 4, 1 or 2 more hits. There's... okay. Come on, 1 more. Wait for the right time. There we go. The Harpy's taken care of, and now the Harpy's done, I go inside this little cave area and go fight some Wiz Robes from Legend of Zelda 2. Except they're very glitchy in this run. As you can see, they're kind of like... there's supposed to be 3 of them, but it seems like only one wants to load its sprite, or unless the other ones just keep piling on top of one another. That's a little awkward, and looks like the programming or the Game Boy couldn't handle that little bit of data right there. But now that I got that crystal, which is needed in order to show you where some secret entrances are in certain places, including a place in the Cave of Argilus, as well as a cave later on when we travel to another place, we'll be using it in order to find a piece of the hearts that we have to collect. We have to collect 3 hearts that were left by our heroine, our damsel in distress, and we find all them to free her from her statued form late at the end of the game. So we need that crystal that I just picked up in order to find one of the caves where that fairy is located. And actually, you also need it to get a different fairy as well, which is in the Cave of Argolis. You have to open that area up, go inside, and travel a little bit in order to find it. So it's back to Argolis. Past this guy, head to the left. Watch out for these little guys that throw the spears. Kill anything I can easily kill, just to try to collect a little bit, not only health, which is nice, like I just did, but any extra olives that I can find laying around. Watch out for that guy, and keep going to the left. Watch out, come on, keep going. Okay, watch out for